comically simple and delicious recipe today. 10, maybe 15 minutes of prep. Throw it in the crock pot and let it do its thing. You come home in the evening and you got dinner. So this is also the first recipe where we're going to be using our home garden herbs as opposed to store-bought. Rosemary has created a little home garden in the laundry room because we've got a west-facing window. Rosemary, thyme, sage, oregano, basil are in there. Those big honkers in the foreground are tomatoes. We don't have any fruit out of those yet, but they look amazing. Here's the team. The herbs are sage, basil, oregano, rosemary, and thyme. The seasoning for the chicken itself is garlic powder. Garlic salt, onion powder, lemon pepper, and cracked pepper. That's my go-to meat seasoning. The veggies on the bottom are going to be some baby red potatoes, some carrots, some mushrooms, and an onion. And then I'm going with chicken breasts in this case. I would normally use chicken thighs because they're more flavorful and they render more fat. But there was a low chicken alarm at the grocery store, so I had to go with chicken breasts. So the first thing I'm going to do is get my herbs ready, and I have to admit that the thyme came out of my fridge because I still had some time left. But the rest of this came out of the laundry room garden. So get all the leaves up, give them a nice chop. So it's fine enough to sort of sprinkle all over the place and set that aside. And then it's time to get the crock pot ready. And it's really this simple. I'm going to dump the potatoes into the bottom and make sure they're all one even layer. On top of that, then I'm going to start placing my carrots. Chop those in, sort of big honking bite-sized pieces. I use 4 carrots in this case because I love carrots that have soaked in chicken juices. And then I'm going to hunk up an onion here, and I'm not going to chop this as fine as I would normally do. Once I get it in half, I cut it into about 6 big chunks. And then throw those right in there as well. And then after the onion is ready to go, it's going to be time to just throw in some sliced mushrooms, and I really do nothing to them other than open the thing and throw it in there. And then it's going to be time to start placing chicken. These breasts are pretty big, so I cut them in half. And I'm just going to sort of place them all around. I want the chicken on top of the veggies because I want the chicken fat to render down into the vegetables. And then once I've got that part done, good idea to go wash hands because I've been handling raw chicken. And then after that, it's time to start seasoning this. I'm going to start by seasoning the chicken with my meat seasoning mixture. And then after that, I'll add some other things. But before I get into that meat seasoning mixture, I'm going to take about a big tablespoon of chicken base and put it in here. And I would not normally do this, but again, because these are breasts and not thighs, I want the little extra flavor that's going to come from that. And now the meat seasonings, I got garlic salt, I got onion powder, I got lemon pepper. What's this one coming up? I think this one's probably going to be lemon pepper. Yeah, it is. And just get the surface of this meat well seasoned. And then it'll be time to move along with the herbs. Plenty of cracked pepper. I don't know, what are you going to call that? 2-3 tablespoons maybe. Pepper is awesome everywhere, especially if you grind it right into things. And then here's the other thing I'm going to do that I wouldn't normally do. I'm going to put a pat of butter on each one of these chicken breasts. And the reason I'm doing that is, again, because they're not very fatty. Right? So I need the fat to come from somewhere. So put a little pat of butter on top of these guys. And that way, when that renders down, I'll have the unctuousness that I'm missing because these are not thighs. Now, sprinkle with herbs. And when we're done sprinkling with herbs, we're basically done. We've done all the work to make our dinner, and now it's time for the crock pot to do the work. So I'm going to put in about 2 cups of water. Try not to wash all the herbs off right away. And it'll be ready to go. I recommend 8 hours. Basically, when this chicken is fork pullable, it's done. But 8 hours on high in the crock pot seemed to work just great. Comes out, looks like this. You can serve it in a bowl, add the jus, you serve it on a plate, and do whatever you like. This is so simple. You come home from a long day, and it's done, and you're ready for dinner. Ridiculously easy, super flavorful, leftovers for days. This is so good. Turn it into chicken soup afterwards if you want to. Really recommend doing this.